Hello, lovely people. Hello, hello. Good evening. I hope you're all well. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody is well. Long time no see. I haven't seen you for a whole week and I missed you all. Lovely to see you. Lovely to have you. And I hope you've had a great week so far. If you live in the UK, how are you doing with the winds? We've got strong winds, haven't we? Really, really strong winds that are supposed to hit. These winds are supposed to hit the UK tonight. Hello, hello. I can recognize some other fantastic teachers joining as well. Hello, thank you for joining. All of you. Yeah, we've got some really strong winds on the way tonight. Hello. Thank you for joining. Fantastic teachers joining as well. So nice, so lovely. So I'm not on my own. I've got other teachers here as well. Yes. Lovely. Really nice to have you. Thank you. The weather is windy in Ealing. Yeah, Pupag. Absolutely. Hi, Tamine. Thanks for joining. The weather is raining. It's raining in Bolton, Reza. Okay. Rain is good. Rain is good. Okay. Lovely evening. Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Lovely. So they're talking about really, really strong winds tonight. Oh my goodness. Actually, the wind pushed me on the bed. I don't know if that's a joke or if it's real. I think it's a joke. Good. It pushed you on the bed. I think it knows that you need rest. So very good. Where do you live? Excuse me, where do I live? I live in Manchester in the UK. Vancouver is raining. Vancouver, you guys had really, really cold weather, didn't you, a few days ago? I think there was someone who said that they had -14 degrees centigrade in Vancouver. That's really cold. Manchester's rainy now, the Netherlands, yeah. And I know that my kids showed me on TikTok, and also I saw myself on some Instagram videos, you might have seen as well, that you poured, I think it was a hot bit of water straight from the kettle. This lovely, I think she was a Persian lady. She was trying to pour hot water from the kettle, and midway, it froze even before it hit the ground. Wow, that's really, really cold, isn't it? Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Okay, lovely. Yes, New Zealand, Auckland. Yeah, I'm guessing it's cold there as well. Yeah. Can we look around you? No, that's a bit of a strange question. Toronto is very cold. Nottingham is raining. You've caught COVID, be careful. Thank you for your suggestion. I might have caught COVID myself, I'm not sure, but we'll have to wait and see, because the symptoms of this new COVID are so similar, and they kind of overlap, don't they? They kind of overlap, sorry, with the symptoms of a common cold. The usual symptoms are sore throat, runny nose, fever, body ache, you feel tired, but they're the same symptoms as today's COVID as well, the new COVID, really. What's your idea about Melbourne, about the weather? I've never actually visited Melbourne, I don't know. I'd love to visit someday, but I've never visited there. Tehran climate has been changed completely. Hopefully good change, I don't know. کشور انگلیسی زبان هست و میخواد okay. Will be going to, okay. You're a little similar to Donald Trump. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Someone's saying I'm similar to Donald Trump. I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay, thank you. If it's a good thing, thank you. If it's a bad thing, again, thank you for sharing your opinion. Okay. Very good. That was so unexpected. Tehran is polluted. Yeah. And I think the cold weather in Tehran, unfortunately, it kind of traps the pollution, unfortunately. so that the pollution kind of like gets trapped, doesn't it, under all this cold weather. Have you ever been to Iran? Have I ever been to Iran? I have. Years ago. It's going on around about 2 decades since I visited Iran. I'd love to go back again and bring the kids as well. Okay, I like the way you pronounce English words. Thank you very much. Ottawa is cold as well. Yeah, the whole of Canada I think is really cold. Right, without further ado, could you just close the door behind you? Thank you very much. Yeah, someone who wants to leave, we just want them to close the door. We say, could you close the door behind you? Yeah, after you leave, please close the door. Could you close the door behind you? Okay, very good. So tonight what I'm going to do, as I mentioned in the story that I posted earlier, tonight I'm going to look at a few modal verbs, okay? And you might wonder, what is a modal verb? A modal verb is some verbs that help the main verbs, okay? So we've got words, for example, like have to and has to. Sorry? I'm in the middle of a lesson. Sorry. Okay, fine. Yes, if you want to bring him, that's fine. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you've got kids. Sure. I hope you would, what's the word I'm looking for? I hope you would humour my daughter. I hope you would humour my daughter. It means امیدوارم صبر داشته باشید. امیدوارم تحمل داشته باشید، صبر داشته باشید. Anyway, my daughter really wants me to share Alfie, yeah, with everybody. Alfie, can you look up here for me? Yeah. Now, Alfie is around about 6 or 7 months old, and I'm taking him tomorrow. He's a boy, obviously, and I'm taking him to be neutered. We say neutered or castrated, which means we don't want him to have babies, basically. So he's purring away right now. He's one of my best friends. Thank you so much. That's actually put me in a good mood. He's lovely. Thank you for that. So yes, thank you. We're going to take him tomorrow to be castrated, which means obviously he will not be able to have children anymore. He won't be able to have kittens. We're doing that tomorrow. Yeah, he is a really lovely cat. He's gorgeous. He follows me like my shadow. He follows me like my shadow. That's an idiom. He follows me. I'm going to put this in the caption, like my shadow. Wherever I go, he follows. So he's basically like my shadow. He follows me like my shadow. That's the idiom that we've got. He is big. Absolutely. He is quite big for his age. Yeah. He's a ragdoll. Excuse me. That's the name of his breed. He's a ragdoll. Gorgeous, gorgeous cat. Very well behaved and everything. Mrs. Saye Dumbalame. Yes. Why at the age of 6? You should have done it till now. 6 months. He's 6 months old. Not 6 years old. That would be really late. Yeah, he's 6 months old. If I didn't say that properly, I do apologize. 6 months old. Someone's saying don't castrate him. Okay. Yeah, it's for his own health, I believe. That's what I heard from the vet anyway. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that little distraction there, that little pause. Thank you for humouring my daughter. Thank you for humouring my daughter. Sometimes, for example, we want to say something and my listener either isn't in the mood or doesn't have time or doesn't want to listen. And I say, please humour me. That means please be patient. Please bear with me. Please wait to see what I want to say. We say, please humour me. Okay. And I wanted to thank you for humouring my daughter. We were in the middle of the lesson and we got interrupted, but thank you for humouring my daughter. You were patient and you allowed her to do what she wanted to do, which was to show you Alfie. So you humoured my daughter. Yeah, you were patient and you waited to see what she wants to do. So that was very kind of you. Lovely. Please bear with me. Yeah, yeah. It's the first time I see you speak Farsi. Yes. It doesn't happen very often. Because when you've got, how many? I've got 560 people right now watching me, all professional Iranians. Yeah, I mean, I will speak Farsi, obviously, and I learn from my mistakes. And sometimes in some of my lessons, I do make a big mistake. And we all laugh about it together, you know, because that's the whole idea of learning, right? That's how we learn, by making mistakes. Okay. Castrate the cat, yes. Aqim kardan, is that right? Is that how they say it? Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, he's going to be put to sleep, and they're going to, you know, put him to sleep and everything. And I'm sure my kids will really spoil him. My kids will really spoil him. بچه‌ها قراره خیلی لوسش کنن بعد از اینکه کارش تموم شد. I'm sure. Okay, lovely. Right, so let's go back to the lesson. I'm sorry about that. Let's go back to the lesson. We're talking about modal verbs. And so a modal verb is a verb that helps the main verb. But depending on your subject, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, this verb that I'm talking about, this helping verb, doesn't change. Let me give you an example. For example, I can type. Yeah, can is my modal verb. I can type. You can type. We can type. They can type. She can type. He can type. It can type. So it doesn't matter what your subject is. Your modal verb stays the same. It doesn't change. Let's have another auxiliary verb, have to or has to. I have to type. We have to type. She has to type. Here, the auxiliary verb has to change because the subject has changed. So for some of the subjects, my auxiliary verb gets an S. That is not modal anymore. A modal verb is a verb that it doesn't matter what your subject is, it does not change. That's a modal verb. Examples of this are can, could, might, may, will, would, all of these that never change. It doesn't matter what your subject is. Okay, save this video. Yes, I definitely will. So what I'm going to do, with your permission, everybody, is I'm going to turn off the comments. I do apologize. That's so that I don't get distracted and you don't get distracted. Tonight I'm going to talk about 3 modal verbs. And as you know, when I talk a little bit about the grammar's not really important to me in these live sessions. It's important that we know how to use the grammar in conversation, because I think that's the whole point of you coming to my page. You're not really interested in grammar. You can go anywhere to learn grammar. You want to learn how to use that grammar in real English conversation, and that's what I'm going to try and do tonight. The first modal that I'm going to introduce tonight is the modal verb could, which some people say is the past tense of can. Yeah, could. Okay. I'm going to use could as my modal, and then my main verb is going to be do. So I could do, could, do. There's 2 D's here, so we say could do. We don't say could do. We don't say that. I could do. Okay. Now I want to add 3 different parts to make my sentence different. Let's say I don't have, for example, olive oil in the house. I don't have olive oil in the house, especially extra virgin olive oil, which is really good, great for salads and that kind of thing. I don't have olive oil in the house, okay? And I want to tell you that I need olive oil. If I have it, it would be great, and I can make a salad. I'm going to use this modal verb. I could do with, and then my noun, olive oil. I could do with olive oil. I could do with olive oil. Okay, so I might be saying that to myself to remember to get some from the shop, or I might be telling you, if you go to the shop, I could do with some olive oil. So if you go to the shop, if you see any olive oil, please get some for me. I could do with olive oil. Okay, this is where we're using the modal verb could. We're putting the main verb do, could do with, and then the noun. I could do with some olive oil. Okay, let's say I'm sitting and it's really, really cold. I could do with a blanket. I could do with a jacket. I could do with a cardigan. I could do with a jumper. So these are all different nouns that I'm adding to my sentence. I could do with, and then a noun. Okay, that means I don't have it. It's not an emergency, but if I had it, it would be really good. I could do with, yeah, and then the noun. So that's one structure. Another structure we have is when I want to ask you to do something for me. Okay, I want to request that you do something for me. You do me a favor. Again, I'm going to use could do. I could do with you helping me, for example, assemble my table. I could do with you, and then a gerund, helping me put my table together or assemble my table. I could do with the kids cleaning their room. So it's not an emergency right now, but if it happens, it's great. I could do with, and then person, my kids cleaning their room. Okay. I could do with, for example, the doctor just checking my throat. Actually, I could do with the doctor checking my throat tomorrow because I feel like I might either have a cold or COVID, I'm not sure. But I could do with, and then person, and then gerund. I could do with the doctor checking my throat. Okay. So this is where we use could, which is the modal, with the verb do. I could do with, I could do with. We can either use it just with the noun, I could do with some olive oil, or we can use it with person and gerund. I could do with you helping me, you know, with the cooking. I could do with you helping me with the kids. I could do with you helping me with the car. Yeah, so I could do with person and then a gerund. The last one is I don't have the person, I just have the gerund. I could do with, let's say, washing the car. I could do with washing the car. What does that mean? That means we don't know who's going to do it. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, and I haven't specifically asked you to do it. Yeah, so we don't know who's going to do it. The focus is on the action. I could do with washing the car. I could do with washing the car, with washing the car. So it suggests that I will be doing it, but somebody else might do it as well. Yeah, I could do with it. That means if this happens, it would be really good. It would really make me happy. So this is one modal that we've learnt tonight, which is the verb could. It's a modal verb, and next to it I've got the main verb do. I could do, preposition with, and then 3 different sorts. That's a modal verb. And I actually have a modal verb course which will be coming out. It will be starting in March if anybody's interested. Could is one of those verbs that we're going to look at in the lessons. I will be focusing on would, which I know is a big problem. Could, can, will, may, might, all of these. I'm going to be focusing on all of these in the modal course, but it's modal verbs in conversation. I don't really worry about the grammar. We want to put it in conversation so that you can use these sentences and use them in your daily lives. Okay, so that was could. I'm just going to come back to lovely, lovely people just to make sure everyone's okay. Yeah. I don't want to say متوجه شدین فهمیدین. That's really rude, isn't it? I'm so sorry. So I can't say do you understand. What can I say? میخوام فقط بپرسم همه گرفتن موضوع رو، تونستم منظورمو برسونم. I'm not going to say do you understand because that's very, very rude. What can I say, please? And I think I used this in one of my reels on Instagram as well. Okay, please don't worry about me knowing Farsi. Can you please answer the question? You got it? You got it is also quite rude. In the British culture, it might be okay in the American culture. In the British culture, it's quite rude. Did you get that? Did you get that? Might be a bit rude. Makes sense. Asempour, thank you, thank you. Makes sense, lovely. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That means what I just said. Does that make sense? Did you get it is a bit rude. Please try not to use did you get it. Do you understand? Did you get that? These are classed as a little bit rude in the British culture. Fair enough. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yes. Was it clear? Is that clear? Was it clear? That might have a different meaning as well. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yes. Can I ask you a question, please? What does it mean? You sound like you're sitting on a pineapple. You sound like you're sitting on a pineapple. I think it means you might be in an uncomfortable situation. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Have you got the point? Did you get the point? All of these depend on who you're talking to. If you're in a formal situation, you're talking to someone that you're not very close with, then we can't really say, did you get it? Do you understand? Got it? Is that clear? That can be really, really rude. But if you're talking to someone you're very comfortable with, close friends, then that's fine. That's fine. Mani could do, mishe kashki mishod. I could do with. That means agar falan chiz bashe kheli khobe. Maybe kashki mishod. Okay. 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 Lovely. Does that make sense for Reza Tahir Khani? Hi Atife. Nice to have you. So does that make sense, please? Does that make sense? Okay. Lovely. Could you do with کمکم کنید یعنی میشه could you do with. Okay, so now I don't want to say I could do with. I want to say اگه شما اینو داشته باشین خیلی خوبه. You could do with. You could do with. For example, I'm going to take these off again. Yeah. For example, let's say I've excuse me, seen somebody who has really long, untidy, messy hair, okay, and they're a friend or relative or somebody. I say, you could do with a haircut. You could do with a haircut. That means if you have a haircut that's really good, your hair is starting to look a bit scary. You could do with a haircut. That means you need one. So it's not an emergency, but if you have one, it's really good. You could do with a haircut. Someone who's really tired, you could do with sitting down. Gerund, sitting. You could do with sitting down. That means if you could sit down, that would be great. You look really tired. You look flushed. You look flushed. You look flushed. That a little bit similar to me when your cheeks are red. You look flushed. Someone who's been working a lot of energy, they're really tired and exhausted, and you want to say to them, you could do with sitting down. You could do with sitting down. Okay, so we use this in all parts of conversation. Please don't think of modal verbs as grammar. We're going to use them in conversation. So just think of them as different conversational pieces that you're learning, because you can use these with other people. Okay. Yes, I turned the comments on and I forgot. Can I just make sure that everyone's okay so far? Does that make sense? Just give me a hands up or something, if you would, please, so that I can make sure everyone's okay. I could do with washing the dishes. Very good. I've got loads of dishes. I'll do it now. I won't leave it till tomorrow. Fantastic. Yeah, thumbs up. Yes, lovely. Okay, thank you so much for your kind thumbs up. Very good. So we've just talked about could. I could do with, you could do with, they could do with, and then you can use it with a noun, with a person gerund, or just with the gerund. All of this is going to be in the caption on YouTube tonight. Okay. Next, I'm going to move on to the difference between may and might. A lot of people have asked me, what's the difference between may and might? If I, let's say, I, for example, am struggling financially, I'm struggling financially, and I go to an advisor, I go to a bank and talk to the clerk, or I talk to some kind of financial advisor, they might say a sentence to me with two different modal verbs, and these two have different meanings. In scenario A, that financial advisor might say to me, Layla, you may be entitled to financial support. Layla, you may be, that's my main verb, be. You may be entitled to financial support. Another sentence is, Layla, you might be entitled to financial support. Both of these sentences, neither of them are 100%. The one with may has got a huge probability. That means it's closer to 100%. You may be entitled to financial support. The likelihood, the probability is huge. Very, very likely. You might be entitled to financial support. That's 50-50. Yeah. Neither of them have guarantees, but may is very highly probable. Might is around about 50-50. So it's important that we know the difference between these two. Okay. Because the way you say it to an English speaker, they will understand differently from you. If you say to your boss or your colleague, I might come in tomorrow, I might come in tomorrow, I might come into work tomorrow, that's 50% chance you will go to work, 50% chance you won't. But if you say, I may come in tomorrow, I may come in tomorrow, your colleague, your boss knows that there is a high probability, high chance that you will go to work tomorrow. So these two make a difference, and we need to make sure that we're using them correctly, so we're not passing or giving the wrong information to our listeners. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Right, I'm actually on time tonight. Not doing too bad. Not doing too bad for once. I'm actually on time. Not running too late. Very good. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. May and might, both of them modal verbs. They're modal verbs because they don't change depending on the subject. We use them with the main verb. May means very, very high probability, very high likelihood. Might means 50% yes, 50% no, 50-50, not sure. Yeah. What's the difference between the first and last use of could? Where, please? Which sentence? First and last use of could, I'm not sure which sentences you're referring to. I'm so sorry. Hello for Afghanistan. Fantastic. Thank you for joining. Lovely. Because of this, we use may in our wishes. Yes, so if you want to show a higher probability, you would use may. Yes. You could do with coming every day live just for 30 minutes. Okay, so here it would be we could do with you, Layla. We could do with you coming to a live session every day. You know what? I wish I could. I wish I had the time, really spending time with lovely people like you. What's better than that? When use I and me. Okay, so I is the subject and me is going to be when you use it as the objective. Hi Layla, I'm doing functional skills, English level 2. I'm planning to do GCSE English next year. Sorry, that's my alarm. What do you think about GCSE? To be honest, I'm not going to comment on GCSEs because I'm not fully familiar with the GCSE exam. I'm not familiar with what they study, what the curriculum is, what the questions are, what type of questions they have. And if I don't know about something, I would much rather not pass an opinion because I don't want to share incorrect information. I'm sorry. We could do with you coming every day for a live. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me. I really appreciate it. Okay. Do you teach privately? I do. I don't think I have any available time slots at the minute. Please send me a message and I'll take a look at my diary and see what I have. What's your opinion about PTE? That's the Pearson's test of English, isn't it? Back in the day, many years ago, back in the day when I taught IELTS, I had a little go. I dipped my toes in PTE. I dipped my toes. I dipped my toes into PTE. When you dip your toes into something, that means you try something just a little bit. I dipped my toes into PTE. So again, that's not something that I know a lot about. I guess it's just another different type of English test. I don't think the level of English that you need, I don't think it would be very different to an IELTS. It's just a different style of test. With all of these English tests, international English tests, be it TOEFL, be it IELTS, be it PTE, all of these, they do all demand a certain standard and level of English. The way they assess your knowledge of English might be different in the tasks and everything, but I think the level that is required is basically the same across all of them, if I'm not mistaken. آیا نگاه کردن به ویدیوهای شما در یوتیوب برای من که اینترمدیت هستم کمک کننده هست که به سطح ادوانسد برسم؟ Thank you. So on YouTube, I've got a lot of these lives. I've also got a few other videos where I'm teaching people how to maybe write a letter, and I'm just talking about little bits of, please watch anything that you enjoy and you understand. What I teach in my videos, I try and teach, obviously I have to teach the things that everybody knows already, maybe the grammar or whatever, but I try to put a little twist and I try to add something that's a little bit more native. So it's possibly a little bit different to what you might find on other people's pages. Will it take you to advanced level? I can't guarantee that. But it will teach you the way we communicate in native English language. I hope that's answered your question. I could do with you teaching me English. That is a perfect, correct sentence. Very good. What is your YouTube? So it's just youtube.com/ and then the name of my page, please. Layla's English Lab, all one word. Okay. I might go to college and get a course. Okay, Maria, good luck if you do. Would you please talk about wood? Ah, wood is a big one, isn't it? What's the meaning, what's the meaning of bang for buck? You get a bang for buck. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That sounds American-ish, so I'm not entirely sure. Sorry. Or that idiom might not be complete. You know Farsi and English as a mother language. I wouldn't say so for my Farsi, but that's very kind of you. Thank you. I could do with some water. Yes, yes. Can I ask, where are you from originally? You speak both languages. Perfect. Thanks for your teaching. That's very kind of you. I was born and raised in the UK, but my father is Persian. So when I was a child, my father rightfully insisted that I learn Farsi as well as English. So when I was a kid, my father would get me a book from Kitabi Kelas Awal, and then my mum and myself would learn Farsi together. We would read these books, Baba Abdad, Baba Nandad, that kind of thing, and we would work and try and learn Farsi together, my mum and myself. Yes. Okay. Do you have any advanced class? On my website, I have a couple of more advanced courses. One I would suggest is the phrasal verbs and idioms. Those are quite advanced. However, that has Farsi translation. I have a course which is just in English, and that's language and culture in the UK. That is more advanced. I would highly recommend, if you are currently living in the UK and you feel comfortable and confident with the English language, but you're not too sure about the culture, I would definitely recommend that course, because it teaches you how to speak in a way that is culturally expected and acceptable in the UK. So you don't get people thinking, why does she talk like that? Why did she say that? You might actually not have a bad intention, but the way you say it, because you're from a different culture, it might be perceived as rude, for example, like this, do you understand? There's no swear words, it's not a bad word, but we don't use it because culturally it's really rude. Yeah, so these are the things you will learn in my culture and language course. And I have one other course, again, modal verbs, that will be starting in March. That will be more advanced. Like this, I could do with, that's one part of the course that I just talked with you tonight. That will just be in English. There's no Farsi on that course. And I teach English conversation with modal verbs, basically. And if you're interested, I already have a story up on my page. I think you just need to comment 1 and then you will automatically receive the information. It's on sale currently for £30. At the end of January, that will go back to its original price. Okay. What's your YouTube link? It's youtube.com/Layla's English Lab. Very good. My son was born in England and speaks native English. He fully understands Farsi but answers back in English. Any solution? I would suggest that, I mean, I'm not a child psychologist and I'm not a linguist either. From my personal point of view, I've got 2 kids and I tried to teach both languages to my kids. I know that my son started speaking very late. He was past the age of 3 when he started speaking. And a lot of his nursery teachers were really worried, and they kept talking to me about taking him to speech therapy classes and that kind of thing. And I had to say to them, look, he's trying to learn 2 languages at the same time. So I know he's processing it. I need to give him time. I think with kids, we just need to give them time. As long as they understand the language in their own time, when they're ready, I'm sure they will start speaking the language you want as well. Okay. Have you got podcast channel? No, but I am seriously considering it. Seriously considering it, yes. It might be helpful to whoever just wants to listen while they're at the gym, while they're driving, washing dishes, working, you know, working or whatever. If you're a pre-intermediate student, if you live in an English-speaking country, please use the resources you have around you. We're talking TV, radio, magazines, neighbours, college, friends, work. Use these resources around you. If you live in Iran and you don't have access to these resources, again, please go on YouTube. And please search for reality English shows, reality shows, or reality programs, and they will show you clips of British English, American English, whatever it is you want, in a real situation. These series that people watch, Friends and films and stuff, that's fantastic. It's really good. But if you watch reality programs, that will show you how people in real situations communicate. Podcast is awesome. I'll definitely do that. I'm seriously considering it. Yeah, consider podcast. Yes, I will. Before simigim chash, in English we say will do. Will do. There's no I. Will do. Will do. Basically like chash. Will do. Okay. Thank you very much. I've taken up 40 minutes of your time. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really enjoy your company. I really enjoy your company when you're with me. I really enjoy it. This evening I started off with a fever, but now my fever's gone because I've been talking to you. So thank you so much. I feel so much better. I will hopefully see you all next Sunday again. All being well. All being well. اگه خدا بخواد یا اگه اتفاقی پیش نیاد. Yeah. All being well. All being well. That means if nothing bad happens. All being well. All being well. I'll see you next Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me. If you do live in the UK, wrap up warm. It's going to be a cold one tonight. Okay. Thank you. Good night.